morning, everybody. Welcome to our session. My name is Scott Larmore, and this is my colleague Tom Caiati. We are both from HP Enterprise Services. We work in the U.S. public sector, specifically in the state and local space, in the Quality and Performance Office. So today's session is the benefits of a quality program and the value to the state of California. Just to tell you a little bit about myself, I've been working with states probably for the last 5 years. I've also worked in New York on technology issues, implementing the recommendations of the 9/11 Commission. Prior to that, I had a career in telecom, and even prior to that, I was involved early on in the GPS world when GPS just started coming to the marketplace.
Good morning. I'm Tom Caiati, as Scott mentioned. I've been in the state and local division in HP for about 1.5 years. Prior to that, I was with a startup company where we were doing corporate university systems, online software as a service corporate university systems. We did serve the state and local market, among others, healthcare, manufacturing, and long career in IT, spanning a number of markets, including those that I mentioned. So welcome, and look forward to the discussion.
Well, thank you very much. Before we get into the agenda, I'd like to just get a feel for the audience a little bit. How many project managers do we have in the room? Okay. How many project sponsors? And how many quality specialists do we have in the room? Okay. And we have a range of other people that came to the seminar, so hopefully you walk away with something new in your toolbox to walk away with. So here's today's agenda. We're very excited about the presentation, very excited to be here with the state of California. As you know, we do a lot of business here. We're going to go ahead and take a look at what is quality. We're going to look at an approach to quality. And then we're going to look at the value or the cost of quality, very important. And then we're going to finish up with a practical workshop, which we hope is very interactive and will help get your brain going on some of the concepts that we've discussed today. And here's our goals, right? We're going to really walk away with 2 goals. One is identify when you have a good quality program, which is very important to the state of California, and identify when you have a quality problem, which is also very important to the state, and it's also very important to you as an individual when you're dealing on your projects, or whether you're a project sponsor. You really need to understand when you have a quality problem and where that lies. So now we're going to talk about what is quality.
So we're going to start with some definitions. As we see informally, definitions really kind of depend on who the stakeholder is, and we've characterized a little bit of the difference here between citizens in your business environment and the state, your business. So citizens are looking for things like reliability, security, and ultimately they're looking for function, right? They want services with a purpose that helps them solve a problem or meet a need or whatever it is. State government, of course, wants to deliver all of that. In addition, looking at some other characteristics such as productivity, of course, fiscal prudence always, sustainability. Ultimately, again, in our informal definition, quality is in the eye of the beholder, right? There's, it's ultimately determined by the expectations of the stakeholder or the recipient of the product or service. So now we'll move to a formal definition of quality, and this formal definition I'll share with you includes two aspects. First one is an attribute, property, a characteristic of an entity, can be distinguished quantitatively or qualitatively. And one of the things we want to stress through the presentation is an emphasis on quantitative characteristics. Now we are going to talk about qualitative elements as well. But ultimately, we think it's really important to be focused on the quantitative. And this definition, as noted here, comes from ISO. So the next aspect of our formal definition is satisfaction or attainment. So we're looking at established requirements, we're looking at implementation methods, and we're looking at evaluation methods. And all three are critical, and the two primary aspects are critical in a formal definition and in building up a quality program. So we're going to introduce, or I shouldn't say introduce, we're going to follow many of our topics with what we're calling best practices, pointers, tips and pointers to hopefully drive home the point. And here's the first one, best practice, build in quality early. To build in quality early, get stakeholder agreement on requirements early. And it's, we find in our business as programs, deliverables become more complex, it becomes difficult to track what was actually agreed upon, what was meant. What did the client or the recipient of the service mean when the client said, I want it to be blue or red or whatever it is, right? There's all different shades. So we're gonna emphasize our concepts with these best practices. So start early, get agreement early, and we'll build on these concepts. They're a little bit simple, but sometimes the simple ideas are the strongest. So we're going to move into kind of a little formal historical view of quality. Probably many of you are familiar with these names. I imagine you're reading this faster than I'm going to talk about it. I'm not going to talk about every one of these. Schuhart, famous for for introducing control charts, creating an emphasis on that in business quality management, statistical analysis method, if you're not familiar with control charts. Duran was a big champion of the Pareto principle. Many of you have probably heard of the Pareto principle, right? The important, few, get you the versus the trivial many, according to Duran. Ishikawa, famous for introducing the fishbone diagram, which is used for root cause analysis, and in some cases not even root cause, it's just used as a planning tool. Deming, all of these gentlemen are famous for many things, not just the ones I'm citing, but very, very often associated with the plan, do, check, act cycle, which is a generic quality model. And I'm going to just stop there and say, any show of hands, you familiar with Schuhart? No Schuharts. Any Durans? No. Yeah, we got a Duran. How about Ishikawa? Anybody use a fishbone diagram? Okay, many more. Anybody plan, do, check, act? Deming? Okay, good, excellent. Okay, one of the things I want to emphasize here is all of these gentlemen emphasize the importance of data. And again, I mentioned quantitative on the earlier definition. I'm going to emphasize data here. Quantitative, data, right? Quantities, data. We're going to keep that emphasis. And I don't know, I saw a resemblance. But wise very, as the guy in the middle would say.